News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's hear some of the great highlights today from Joe Biden at his press conference, his big boy press conference.
What concerns do you have about Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
I mean, this was an amazing press conference. I have a picture of President Putin with Vice President Trump up on my Facebook page. I also have it up on I'm finally using my Instagram, so jump on board and see a beautiful picture of Vice President Trump and President Putin today on Instagram at Chris Krock Show. That's at Chris Krock Show, ChrisKrok. Same handle for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All of them. I also have gotten a hold of a brand new, beautiful picture of Vice President Trump. It's awesome. She's looking great. There is a brand new picture. You're going to love it. I'm going to put it up on Instagram right now. You'll see some great pictures up there by going to Instagram and following me right there at Chris Krock Show. That is at Chris Krock Show. I'm going to put the Vice President picture up here in just 1 second while we're talking. I actually might even put it right up in there. Oh, look at that. Yes. 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 Now I'm going to put Vice President Trump looking good. Looking good. Okay, you can see it for yourself. It is beautiful. She's looking good in that suit with her short hair. It's fantastic. Vice President Trump is now up on the Chris Krock Show's Instagram page for all to see, at Chris Krock Show, ChrisKrok. I'll put it up on Twitter in a little bit, too, and on Facebook in a little bit. Okay. We got lots of stuff to get into here. I wanted to get right into this, though. The Politico reporting today, George Clooney actually ran his Biden op-ed that he wrote in the New York Times, the groundbreaker one, right? George Clooney ran his Biden op-ed past former President Hussein Obama first. Former President Hussein Obama and George Clooney talked, and Hussein Obama blessed the editorial, saying, "Get back, Joe, and stop. 3 weeks ago, you are not the same Biden from a year ago, from 4 years ago, or from 10 years ago. You are not there anymore." Of course, this is the same George Clooney who hosted the event and said it was great and kept his mouth shut for 3 weeks. Once Mr. Hussein Obama gave him the green light, go. This is former President Hussein Obama literally having his massive friends and celebrities and massive Democrat people do the dirty work for him. He is doing the dirty work, has his surrogates doing the dirty work for him. George Clooney has taken vacations at his villa in Italy, or some call it Italy, with former President Hussein Obama. So this is it. Okay? And I love the headline from the Babylon Bee. Ocean's 14 star George Clooney pulls off $300 million heist by tricking people into giving money to politicians before revealing he's demented. Didn't they pull off a great heist? He got $30 million out of people before he said the guy's demented. Brilliant huckster. Brilliant huckster. Who knew? Now, in addition to what I shared with you there, CNN's lengthy 6-page piece. I don't know why they insist on writing books when they just write a 1 to 2 page story. It's rather annoying. But CNN, fake news CNN, reporting in a lengthy piece how much of a disaster and how much the wheels of the Joe Biden campaign had fallen off. And Let me share that with you. Angry and stunned Democrats blame Biden's closest advisors for shielding the public from the full extent of President's decline. Cabinet officials are now being forced to, cabinet officials are forced to submit their questions in advance and key talking points in advance so that White House can script out cabinet meetings. The last cabinet meeting was a stunning 9 months ago, but everything is scripted out before the event. What you want to ask him and what your answers are and what he's going to say is all written before the cabinet meeting even happens. It's all fake. Quote, "The entire display is an act," says one of these sources. They would come and say, hey, the president's going to call you in about 25 minutes and ask his questions. What are the bullet points? He's going to call on you in about 25 minutes into the press conference. What are the bullet points you'll respond with? A second source says when Biden attends cabinet meetings, they are not freewheeling and they're pretty well orchestrated. One cabinet secretary told Fake News CNN they are uncertain of Biden's condition because they so rarely see him. In fact, the last full cabinet meeting, Fake News CNN says, was 9 months ago. In the Obama years, none of them were pre-scripted. Obama's people made it clear they didn't pre-script anything at his cabinet meetings to make it known that Joe is so far gone. Joe Biden's people lied and said, oh, it's routine. It's not. Last November, CNN said today, in the summit between Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping in California, senior officials vehemently argued that only photos, not video, of the two men walking side by side should emerge from the historic meeting. They didn't want the image of a president shuffling next to his younger Chinese counterpart to play on a loop on TV news and to circulate on social media. Everything is rigged. Everything. You know, he even has a fake Oval Office it looks like it's the actual Oval Office, but it's not. That's where he does his press conferences from there, or not press conferences. That's where he does his speeches from there. It's in They made a fake Oval Office for him. I'm not making that up. You can Google it. It's widely reported. French officials said Biden's team had requested, when he went for the G7 there, French officials said that Biden's team requested 2 days of rest during his 5-day trip. He literally, on 2 of the 5 days he was at the G7, he was sleeping, resting. He was not there for 5 days. He was sleeping for 2 and working for 3. He's on it. He's on it. He and Vice President Trump are on it. At the G7, quote, "It was obvious he was old. At one point, he wanted to sit and there was no chair," a diplomat told CNN. "He's an old person who needs assistance. We all noticed it." Meanwhile, Nurse Jill, the First Lady, sits in on some of the president's political meetings, CNN says. As the president plots a path forward, sources have emphasized no significant decisions will be made without her input. She is the new Edith Wilson, Woodrow Wilson's wife, who ran the entire presidency for the last year and a half. Nurse Jill is it, guys. Not a Dr. Jill is it. Meantime, well, let me ask you these questions. Do you still think Joe Biden can pull this off? Do you still think Joe Biden can pull this off and be the candidate in November? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. Do you still think Joe can pull this off and be the candidate? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Coming up next as well, nobody, NBC says, no one involved in the effort to reelect Biden thinks he has a chance. Not anyone, according to their report. Meanwhile, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi are searching for who is the best candidate to replace him with. It's incredible. All that next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
According to 2 sources, before cabinet meetings that the president attends, cabinet officials, Barack Obama, those were According to two sources, before cabinet meetings that the president attends, cabinet officials will submit their questions and key talking points and bullet points that they plan to present to the president in these closed-door meetings. This is how one source described it. They said the entire display is kind of an act. They would come and say, hey, the president is going to call on you about 25 minutes in and ask this question: what are the bullet points that you'll respond with? Now, the White House's defense has been that is standard practice for any administration. They said in a setting like this, you never want the president to be not aware of what is going to be discussed. They want to also just be mindful of the president's time. But we also spoke with sources from the Obama years who said in the cabinet meetings for former President Barack Obama, those were never this meticulously scripted.
Whoop-dee, that's fake news CNN. All right, y'all. Do you still think Biden can pull this off? And aren't you glad he did as good as tonight, so that he did well enough to actually stay in, even though he called Vice President Harris Vice President Trump and President Zelensky, he called him President Putin. All good. That's Joe. We love Joe. He doesn't know who he is or what's going on, but we love you, Joe. But we love him. We want him to be the candidate because it's going to be spectacular as we continue to watch 4 months of Hindenburg slow crash and burn. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Do you still think Joe Biden can pull this off? Well, here's what we got. More information for you about how bad things are. Quote from NBC News: no one involved in the effort thinks he has a path. Biden insiders say the writing is on the wall, NBC News reported today. Several of Biden's closest allies, including 3 people directly involved in the efforts to re-elect him, told NBC News today they now see his chances of winning at 0.
0.0.
But there's always a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yes, it could be 0.01 or 0.09. I think it's... So there is a chance here, guys. I see a path, and I love the path I see for him. It's beautiful. Can you see it? Can you see the path? Look. Can you see? I see. Do you see it? If you're blind, from my blind friends, I'm being serious. Braille, just feel around. Can you feel it? Or as the great Marky Mark would say, can you feel it, baby? Right? Can you feel it, baby? Here, several presidents, Joe Biden's allies, closest allies, including 3 directly involved in efforts to re-elect him, told NBC News they now see his chances at winning at 0. He needs to drop out. One Biden campaign official said he will never recover from this. He's the guy running the campaign, helping run it. And he says Joe Biden, the guy trying to get reelected, will never recover from this. Yes! Yes, Joe, you did a great... Nurse Jill tonight. Joe, you were so great. You know, she told him that. Oh, Joe! And she's like, okay, get him out of here. Put him in bed. I'll handle the questions. No one involved in the effort thinks he has a path, said a second person working to re-elect him. No one! Questions of cognitive abilities, the dearth of fundraising, more polls showing it's unsustainable, they all say, to NBC News today. He has half the amount of fundraising he got from the previous month from big donors and half the amount he got previously from the previous month from small donors. This is awesome. 2 others close to Biden told NBC News while they haven't given up all hope of a turnaround, they see an increasingly unlikely outcome. And they believe the goal of defeating Trump in November should take precedence over backing Biden. Of course, it's not about Joe Biden's health. We're not going to say anything about him having Parkinson's or dementia. No, it's just about he can't win. We don't see a path. We don't care about his health. The Democrats don't care. They just care about winning. I swear to you, I think they would take him to a farm to put people down and to cremate them and get them, move them on to get them out of here if they could. That's how they feel about it. They don't care. It's like these movies we see, these sci-fi movies or wherever, or they're just churning and burning them, soiling it in green or whatever. Just put them in a line like a cow, stamp them in the head, and make them meat. Get them out of here. Next. Here's a report. Advisors and aides are determining ways to convince Joe Biden to quit. New York Times says they said they've had to make the case. They have to make the case to the president. He cannot win against Donald J. Trump. They have to persuade him to believe that another candidate could beat Trump. They have to assure Biden that it will be orderly and not devolve into chaos for transition. The Biden campaign, meanwhile, is conducting a survey between Vice President Kamala Harris and Trump to gauge if Harris might be the better Democratic candidate. That's what Joe Biden's campaign's doing. They're doing surveys about Kamala and Trump. That's where they're at. I love it. Do you still think Joe can pull this off and keep the nomination? I do. It was solidified. I've been steadfast. Today, it was a little rocky, maybe. But then tonight, after his big boy press conference, sure, he called Vice President Kamala Harris, Vice President Trump. Sure, he called President Zelensky, President Putin. But that's okay. That's okay. He did the goodest. And he actually did well enough to pull it off, and I love that. It was a huge deal to me, and it was very awesome to me. I was very pleased. I'm serious. I want this guy running against Trump. Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. We need you, Joe. You're our only hope. Okay, coming up next. This is going to be fun. Would you pass the cognitive test that Joe Biden refuses to take? I'm going to share what the test has. I'm going to tweet it out for you as well. And I'm going to try it with you on the air as pressure mounts on the president. And we'll talk about how hard do you think this test will be for Biden and Trump to pass. Does this test seem difficult to you? And do you think Biden's staff would help him to cheat on the test? You better believe they will. When old man ain't getting out and they know it, then they're going to do whatever they can. They're going to cheat their way to the top, including cheating on a test. Yes, Mr. Trump or Mr. Biden, the answer is yes, it's that one. Or B. No, I think the answer is A. No, B. All right. That's coming up next. You got to hear this. We'll go through a little round of testing on the questions there for the senility test. That is next. Chris Rock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
I'm not going to out the cabinet secretary.
Right.
But I had a cabinet secretary 2 years ago.
Right.
Okay. 2 years ago. All out of the blue asked me, do you really think he can't run again like this? And I said, well, you have more interaction with him than I do. And they said, I don't have a lot of interaction with him. This is a pretty senior cabinet secretary. So, and this was 2 years ago. This is one of those, it's the classic open secrets, a non-versation, right? It's the story everybody knows and everybody was afraid to talk about.
NBC News chief political guy for F. Chuck Todd, and he knew about this for 2 years that a senior cabinet official told him Biden can't make it much longer, and he said nothing. He didn't report it to you, huh? And then what did I say yesterday? Yesterday I was going apoplectic saying, why did he wait 3 weeks or more to tell us that Joe Biden is far gone, is mentally gone? After he raised $30 million from celebrities in Hollywood and Democrats, why does it take him 3 weeks to come out and say how bad it was after he took their money? Here's Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports saying what I said. He said it a day later today.
He was a vegetable 3 weeks ago, acting like he's doing some heroic thing like we can't have a vegetable run for president, not in this country. So what, George? If he didn't do the debate, Biden, and wasn't a vegetable, you were just going to keep your mouth shut?
Well, there you go. There you go. You finally got it right, sir. Day late and dollar short, but that's okay, mister. I want to get into, coming up at 10:45, we're going to get into who is going to pick. A new favorite emerges for Trump's vice president pick, which we will know who it is next week. Very exciting. And we'll talk about that coming up next. But first, would you pass the cognitive test Joe Biden refuses to take? Daily Mail says try it as pressure mounts on the president. Here we go. I'm just going to read it to you the best I can since we're doing radio, not television. There's a visual spatial executive, it says. And they're having you go 1, and then you draw a line to A, and then from A you draw a line to 2, and then from 2 you draw a line to B, right? You got to use your logic to say, they just show you 1 to A and A to 2. What's next? Then you got to figure out, well, obviously the next is B after 2, and then 3, and then C. Okay, you got to connect the dots. After that, copy a cube. So what that means is, I guess you got to draw the cube, okay? Which is it's like a 3-dimensional cube, or 3-dimensional cube. And then next, draw a clock. 10 past 11. 10 minutes past 11. The next one is naming. It's got a picture of a lion. You got to name what it is. I mean, this is unbelievable. Next, it's got a picture of a rhinoceros and a camel, and you got to name what it is. It's a drawing of. It's a drawing of. Can you believe how pathetic this is? And Joe Biden won't take this and supply the results. Isn't this amazing? Let me continue on. Memory. This really is amazing, guys. This is so unbelievably easy. Read a list of words. Subject must repeat them. Do 2 trials. Even if first trial is successful, do a recall after 5 minutes. So face, then velvet, then church, then church twice, and then daisy twice, and then red. Then read a list of digits. Subject has to repeat them in the forward order, and it's 2, 1, 8, 5, 4. Then you got to do it in the forward order. Then you have to repeat them again in the backward order. This is 7, 4, 2. So you would obviously go 2, 4, 7, and then if you repeat them in the forward order, you just say the same thing: 2, 1, 8, 5, 4. Right, here's the next one. Read a list of letters. The subject must tap with his hand at each letter A. No points if you have more than 2 errors. Okay, so you only tap one A. So you got F, B, A. I should say F, B, A, C, M, N, A, J, K, L, B, A, F, A, K, D, E, A, J, A, M, O, F, A, B. I mean, can you hear me when I bang? Yeah, I mean, isn't this amazing? This is... A severely mentally disturbed person couldn't do this. Not trying to be mean, but this is pathetic. I'm going to continue on, but I'm going to ask you right now to chime in at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. How hard do you think this test would be for Biden and Trump to pass? Does this test seem difficult to you? I pray it doesn't. Please, please, please. And do you think Joe Biden's staff would help cheat on the test? Help him cheat? You better believe they would. You better believe they would. You would have to have a Trump campaign official and a Biden campaign official observing, maybe 3 of them, in a separate room or something. I don't know what, with audio. I don't know, something that could be agreed on. Maybe 2 or 3 of them. I don't know. And then 2 independent people, one the Democrat. I don't know how you do that, right? Have to be like... maybe 3 independent people, I don't know, that are can do the test. Or the official, agency that handles this and makes the test to have representatives come out, like a panel of them. I don't know, maybe 6 of them or 7 of them. Okay, continuing on. Repeat. Repeat. I only know that John is the one to help today. Repeat. The cat always hid under the couch when the dogs were in the room. Fluency. Name a maximum of words in 1 minute that begin with the letter F. I mean, and you got to have, more than 11 words it is. Frank, well, that's a name. Fig, fart, frame, friend, foe, freedom, French fry, friendly. Did I ever say that? No, I said friend and friendly. Fiend, freak, find, fought, feeling, fright. I mean, I've exceeded the number. Some of them are duplicates, but I've exceeded the number because I went to like 13. So obviously 2 of them might be thrown out. But I mean, I could do more. This is what, 30 seconds or 20 seconds? Holy wow. Subtract serial, subtract 7, starting at 100. Okay? So I guess you go 93. That's kind of weird. Oh, yeah, 93, 86, 79, 72, 65. So I think you say the number, I don't know how that works, but you say 93. What's 7 minus 93? What's 7 minus 86? Then what's below, what's the next 7 denomination going negative? And next, so anyways, I think that's what it is. Again, this is pathetic. Language, repeat. Already mentioned that one. Next one is abstraction. Similarity between banana, orange is fruit. Train and bicycle, mode of transportation, right? Watch, ruler, measurements, right? I mean, that's, delayed recall, has to recall words with no cue. Face, velvet, no cue. So what are the 5 words I gave you earlier? If you say them twice, you'll probably remember them. You get points only for recall. Orientation, what's the date? Oh my gosh. What's the date? What's the month? What's the year? What's the day? What's the place? What's the city? Okay, can you believe this? Now, one of the things I thought about yesterday, I swear to you on my own, I thought about this. You know what Trump should do in the next debate? But you got to be very careful because Biden sinks himself. Joe, can you say what today is? What the day is today? And Joe, can you say the date? Joe, do you remember the year you ran for, when you first ran for president? And do you remember the years you were vice president? You can just ask him one of those. You don't want to ask when Bo died. That's sensitive. It'll make you look bad. Okay. Do you think that, how hard do you think this test is? How hard is this test to pass for Biden and Trump, would you guess? And does this test seem difficult to you? And do you think Joe Biden's staff would help cheat on the test? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Now, a new favorite emerges for Trump vice president pick. And which vice presidential candidate did Trump say he's one handsome son of a beep? All that is next on the Chris Crock Show News Talk. And here's the big one. Who do you want to be the vice presidential pick? Is Nikki Haley even on the docket for you? Should she be? Next.
You earlier explained confidence in your vice president.
Yes.
If your team came back and showed you data that she would fare better against former President Donald Trump, would you reconsider your decision to stay in the race?
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me. No one's saying that. No poll says that. Mr. President,
This ends tonight's press conference. Thanks, everybody.
That's KJP cutting everybody off, and now he's laughing and smiling like a crazy old man in a nursing home who's half in the bag mentally. Wasn't it great to hear him whispering at the end of his press conference? He did that about 3 or 4 times during the hour, maybe more. Would you like him to sniff your daughter's hair? I'm kind of channeling the guy from Fava Beans. Just hold it right there. Did you see on my Twitter feed, I tweeted Prime Minister Berlusconi, he went in to try to hug her or something, and then he went to kiss her, and then she kind of jumped back from him, kept him at a distance, and then waved her hand kind of away, and then turned around. It was clear that she smelled old, like nursing home old man smell with like diaper smell. That scary, you know what I mean? Like you go, oh, and then you go, holy crap, he stinks, and then you pull back. And he whispers something that's probably really creepy. And then a little earlier, there was also on my Twitter feed this video of her, the Prime Minister of Italy. She keeps looking at her watch and rolling her eyes because Biden was so late and everybody was sitting there waiting for her. It's amazing. All right. Here's what we got. New favorite emerges in betting odds to be Trump's running mate. One man is itching ahead. Rubio was the slight favorite as of Tuesday. On Wednesday, though, Burgum surged to the lead with Vance at a second choice. This is speculation on Las Vegas, but let me also add this to you. Trump said he's one handsome son of a bee. Full word, how MAGA favorite J.D. Vance caught Trump's eye as he weighs pick for vice president. He lost weight since taking up the running for his VP. Since his 2022 Senate candidate. He's on the short list, and Trump is liking him. He's got the look, is another Trump assessment. So that's interesting. I know his story is incredible, but he's really hard MAGA, and I love that about him, but I don't think it's good to have that as a vice president. You need that yin to the yang. Would you even consider Nikki Haley? I know you don't want her. I don't want her either, but listen closely. You do know if he picked her, it would be a complete win. You know that. Like his numbers and his chance of winning would even be much higher. At that point, I think it would be destroying Joe Biden. Do you guys agree with me on that, colleagues? Like if you picked Kamala, his chances would go up even higher, like solidly, like really solidly for no, yay, no, yay, yeah. One says yeah, the other one's it's like you're having cramps, a bad bowel movement. You don't want to say yes, but you know that's the answer. He's admitting that. Okay. And yes, I give you permission to go to the bathroom and finish that thought off about Nikki Haley, because I know it makes you want to do that. And that's okay. No, I don't need sound effects for that, sir. No. No thanks. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number. Excuse me, I got a cough. 800-288-9227. Hey, by the way, I should have been mentioning this all night, but I'm filling in for Casey Bartholomew tomorrow from 9 to 11. So I'll be seeing in about 6 hours or 7 hours here. That's okay. I did the same thing today. Did a double shift for the great station I filled in for earlier today. And do it here for my station tomorrow. And it's a privilege. By the way, I don't think J.D. Vance should be the pick. If he picks him, so be it. I think it'll make it harder for him to win. It will. The problem is winning over the moderates and the independents. Now, I know Vance won in Ohio, but Ohio's not a swing state anymore. It's all about winning. And Trump said that. It's about helping himself win. Marco Rubio is really one of his top choices. Marco Rubio, I think, would be okay. I think Marco Rubio would be a slight help, because he's a little bit more moderate. He's Hispanic. He speaks completely fluent Spanish. That would work. They'll call him a fake Hispanic. As you know, in the media, they'll attack him like they did Cruz. They called the white cultural appropriator Beto Hussein O'Rourke, the fake Hispanic, the fake Mexican, who is right where he belongs. At the University of Chicago teaching. He's teaching at the University of Chicago. He's literally where he belongs. That's who he is. An elitist white professor at an elitist university. Absolutely at home. Do you remember when CNN called him the first Hispanic if he gets elected? Isn't that amazing? The first Hispanic, whatever, senator from Texas. Cruz is not Hispanic, even though he's from Cuba. And his dad came here as a refugee, Cuban refugee, a legal refugee. So there you go. Beto's the real Hispanic, and CNN knows it. J.D. Vance, now a leading candidate, says the Daily Mail today, for VP, seemingly issued his support for Trump accuser. Here's the problem, they said. He actually issued his support for Trump accuser Jessica Leeds, who accused him of sexual assault when he was the presumptive GOP nominee ahead of the 2016 election. So we have him on the record in 2016 saying the former stockbroker who testified in E. Jean Carroll's sexual assault lawsuit against Trump alleged that Trump groped her on a plane in 1970, and that's when Vance said he believed that woman on the tape. That's not good. It's kind of hard to get out of that one, isn't it?